Hello everyone, it's Saturday the 4th of April. We've passed like 1,200,000 infections. There's now 60,000 dead. There's about 6,000 dying a day, which is the exact same rate that died each day during World War I. So we've passed that milestone. I need to be very careful with filming because I've already been threatened with violence twice for filming. The other day, I didn't put it in the video, but someone actually sucker punched me when I was filming a queue outside Aldi. And I didn't post the video. This isn't about the violence. I just want to warn you guys, like city centers right now, it's the true zombie vampire invasion because the vulnerable people are not getting their drugs, they're angry, they feel left out, they're literally left out on the street, there's nowhere for them to go and self-isolate, so tensions are very high, and police are currently not arresting people that commit low-level crime. They're just not doing it because there's more important things to happen. I'm constantly keeping an eye out. That guy that just walked past me, thank God, says security on his back. Oh, let's have a look. This is the view along Cross Street, usually hyper busy. It's maybe 10 people. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to present to you the various coping mechanisms, the big copes that people are employing when dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. Cope number one, and I've mentioned this one a few times. The first cope is that there are billions of infected people around the world, yet only 60,000 dead, which means that the mortality rate is 0.00000000001. That is a cope because any pandemic, you figure out the mortality rate by finding the confirmed cases versus how many people of the confirmed cases die. As of this morning, there's about 300,000 confirmed cases that have had an outcome, and 21% have died. It's not looking good. Stop coping. Cope number two. The coronavirus seems to only affect old people or those with underlying health conditions. What do we classify as old these days when people are living till they're 105? Is 65 old? Is 75 old? Is 85 old? Do these people not have lives as worthy as yours? I mean, what next? Are we going to say that babies, their lives don't matter because they've hardly ever been here? And old people, their lives don't matter because they will soon be departing from here. It's a crazy cope. And touching on from the previous cope, it only affects old people. Here's the latest one. It only affects people with underlying health conditions. Now that is a cope because most people have some sort of underlying health conditions, and it's meant to make the proles, the masses go, oh, those people were ill anyway. Maybe they were going to die anyway. Cope number 4. 1,600 people die in the UK every day anyway. So the 600 that are currently dying in the UK from coronavirus per day just form part of that normal death statistic. Well, listen to this, sunshine. They've done the studies in Spain and Portugal, and they're finding massive spikes in mortality. So no, coronavirus isn't replacing flu and cancer and heart disease and road traffic accident deaths. It's adding to them. Cope number 5. And this is a bit of a conspiracy theory one. People are saying, hey there, look, mortality was higher in March 2019 than it is in March 2020. Well, no shit, Sherlock. When everyone's under house arrest, you are going to have a lot less accidents and murders and killings and car crashes. So yeah, of course you're going to have a slightly lower bloody mortality rate. Just give it a bit of time. We're only at the very beginning of this exponential curve. That is a pure conspiracy cope. And the final cope, can you see that big blue screen? Thank you to our NHS. Us British people have a great tradition of showering a lot of praise on people that we suddenly don't want to stop doing their jobs. That sounded callous and insensitive. Thank you, NHS. But, you know, you're not volunteers. You are getting paid. And that is horrible. Thank you. I mean, thank you. But British people do have a massive tendency to start sucking the cock of people whose jobs they don't want to stop being done. You know what? I started talking about British people heaping praise on people whose jobs they don't want to stop. And I forgot the final cope, the mega cope. The overall, the cope of copes, the copes that makes me come outside Banyan restaurant. Banyan? Hi! This is Corn Exchange. So the final cope, in fact, I'm going to do it to the face. The final cope, the biggest cope, the ultimate cope of all is lockdown, is quarantine. Maybe if you're South Korea and you have a history of SARS, you lock people down straight away when there's like 5 people infected. Then that could work. But all over Europe, it was always too late to quarantine. I'll tell you why quarantining is a cope. About 2 weeks ago, when the quarantine came here in the UK, there was a vast amount of pressure, political pressure, from the public and from opposing political parties telling the Conservatives that they are risking lives, they're going to be guilty for murdering 200,000 great-granddads, granddads, grannies, any age now. And so, even though it was too late to quarantine, it was a politically expedient move, because either way, if you're too safe, it's better than being sorry. If only 50,000 people die, the Tories can say, oh look, we saved 200,000 lives. It's politically expedient as well, because in the time of massive fear, when the troop of apes is threatened by an enemy, an invisible enemy, you had the general public, the masses, literally screaming for the government to slam them down with an iron fist. And there you have the politically expedient lockdown, which was about 3 weeks too late, with the most contagious virus on Earth. All right, why is the quarantine a cope? Let's spin and do this. How does this work? Let's see if this bloody face tracking does its job. Keep me in the middle. Another reason why the quarantine is a massive cope, a total cope, a coping mechanism to end all coping mechanisms, is that it doesn't make the virus go away. All it does is it stops certain victims getting it now, but they're still going to get it. And Matt Hancock, the health secretary, or whatever secretary he is, he's a Hancock. He said, oh, we're going to issue immunity certificates for people who have had the COVIDs, and they can go out, and instantly smashed down by virologists and scientists and geneticists saying, mate, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a politician. Shut up. People are getting infected a second time, a third time. They're not developing immunity. It's very strange. Why am I spinning? There's people smiling at me now. I'm going to stop spinning. So yeah, it's a massive cope. Everything's a cope. Just face it. Just deal with the truth. Face reality. The reality is the coronavirus is here. And they've been lying as well. Oh, lockdown, house arrest for 3 weeks. Then suddenly 6 weeks. Now they're talking about 6 months to a year. Spanish flu was around for 3 whole years. You might be, I don't know where this, nobody knows. I just keep on making the videos. This is Charlie Veach signing off from the Corn Exchange, Central Manchester, England, 4th of April, 2020. Yeah. You know what, guys? This might just be the end of the world. Do you guys remember in the 20th century when you could just go into a shop and buy a coffee or some new pair of shoes, or you could walk around as many times as you wanted during the day? It was amazing back in the 20th century. Right. Okay. Oh. I'm still young. You guys remember in the 20th century when there used to be cars and people and civilization? You remember that? You guys remember in the 20th century there used to be laws and shit and like rules and a society? Le left bank intellectual, River Seine in Paris, smoke a gitane with my beret. The problems of capitalism are being solved by the coronavirus, you know, the overconsumption, the alienation, the atomization of the human individual as exposed via Engels, Marx and Durkheim and Foucault in the 20th century. Man's greediness, his desire to eat a fox bat soup has led to this terrible virus which will kill 20% of the world's population. This is not good. Some sarcastic viewer commenting on my comment section in a recent video said, come on Charlie, edit some more bloody fridges and rivers with music into your video. Well, there is no fridge, but And then I watched the blue plastic bag floating in the River Irwell. I watched it for like 2 minutes. It just lay floating there. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You guys know how I love my symbolism. Well, I walked past this, and this is me. That's me trying to film in central Manchester during the time of the coronavirus when the junkies can't get their drugs and they're all aggressive and angry. It's exactly what it's like. I've never fallen from quite this high, fallen into your COVID eyes. Forgot about a big coping mechanism that I didn't touch upon it. The biggest one of all, it's perfect, it's classic. You know, you grew up watching The Simpsons and other cartoons, and even The Simpsons would talk about basic psychology sometimes. Homer being in denial, think about his heart disease. The doctor, Nick Riviera, hi there, I'm Nick Riviera. Homer was in denial about his heart disease in that episode. And anyway, so many people, I've had people I respect that I like writing on my Facebook saying, Charlie, shut the fuck up. This is pathetic fear-mongering. And they say the virus is a hoax. That is the best cope of all. I can't believe I didn't rank this the top cope. Let's make it the top cope. The top coping mechanism with coronavirus, COVID-19, is to say it doesn't exist. That's like someone in the corner running across the room and they are fucking sticking their dick in your ass and you say, there is no dick.